Good evening. 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 That Michael Dennis. Good evening to you. I don't have my glasses, so I'm trying to read this thing. Good evening, Mr. Dennis. Good evening. I know I just did the presentation, but I want to come back and I want to steal maybe 15 more minutes of your time. I want to send you something that you can send out to all your friends, all your blue dots, all those people who are still humming and hawing. Hey, Miss Noreen Childs, James Marshall, Jacqueline Burrell. Hey, Cal X Brown, how you doing? Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Is that Mr. Taylor? Okay. Bonnie Taylor, good evening. But I need to put my glasses. Hey, Demi. Good evening, Mr. Sanya. Louis Straub, good all the folks. Thank you for joining on this call. I'm gonna do a little talk. I'm gonna do my best to try to do this in like maybe 10 to 15 minutes to break the simplicity of what we're doing down, so you can send it out to all those folks who wondering, should I do this? Is it worth doing? What are we doing? I want to talk to all those folks who are undecided, or all those folks who've decided but have yet to make what I call a full blown out, all out commitment for the next 90 days to get this thing done once and for all. You don't have to drag this thing out for year after year after year, okay? Especially right now with what we got going on and what we got going in place. And the new payment system, all this stuff is incredible what's going on. So I want to give people maybe one more minute to join us, and then I'm going to go right into it, because I'm going to try to keep this thing as simple. I want to call it two options. Two options, because this is not that deep. It's not that complicated what we're doing. But we people can complicate things. So, hey, Miss Marie Stafford, how you doing? Good evening to you. Congrats on all the stuff you're doing. Sheila, good evening to you. Rod Healing, good evening. That's Dr. Pina, good evening to you. Joyce, good evening to all those folks. Look, so let me cover a couple things real fast. I say I want to call this talk two options. I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, and it's two options, real simple. Hey, Mr. Reed Pierce, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on the call. Mr. Granville, good evening. On the call, on this live stream. So I'm going to say something real simple, okay? And I think I can do this. First, I'm saying this because I'm talking. I know we have a lot of experienced people on the call who are already in Karatbars. I'm trying to put something together that's less than 15 minutes that you could send to your prospects, that you could send to your guests, okay? So I'm gonna talk as if I'm talking to a brand new person, not to those who experience, but I want you to hear what I'm saying, okay? So first, let me tell you, my name is Ty Best, okay? I'm married. My wife's name is Valerie. I have two sons, one named Alexander, who's 35, one named Gabriel, who's 20 years old. My wife and I have been together for 46 years. We met when we were 19 years old at Hampton University. We were both graduated by Hampton University. Got some background on who I am. I've been in the network marketing industry for the last 37 years. Now, Karatbars, this company I'm going to talk to you about, is not classified as a network marketing company. It's actually a licensed e-commerce company. There's a significant difference. The difference is we don't have any mandatory requirements for anyone to do anything here. I'm going to go into that in a minute. But I want to give you a little bit about my background. I've written 4 books on this industry. And the hot button for me in this industry has always been freedom. Now, I know most of you, especially new people, you probably never even heard about freedom. You probably never even met anyone free. I went through 16 years of school. My wife went through 16 years of school. I've been in corporate America for 6 years, and not one person ever talked to me about this thing called freedom. See, freedom is the ultimate dream, folks. So, well, I know many of you right now may be thinking you are free right now, but if you have to show up on Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning to keep a roof over your head, to keep food in your house, to sit, you're not free. Now, I made the statement before, and I know people get mad when I say it, but the truth is the truth. I believe truly. Now, we got to have a job. I had one for 18 years, so I'm not hating the job. But here's the truth about the job. I don't care what they call you. You can call you associate, a team member, but going to work, and they control where you live. They control what you eat. They control when you sleep. They control you go on vacation. I say a job is no more than 21st century slavery. It's just been modernized. Now, people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Okay, when another person is dictating what you do every single day, and you don't have the freedom to decide what you want to do 7 days a week, you are not free. Now, I didn't hear that till I was 28 years old. And I thought I was free. And when that man said that, I said, oh my God, I've got to have this freedom thing. And freedom is a combination of time and money. Now, everybody doesn't want to be free. So if that's okay. If you like your job and love your job and you love clocking in 40 to 60 hours a week, that's okay. This message is not for you. This message is for that person who's sick and tired, or that person who's already tired and says, I got to find another way because my job after 45 years is not giving me what I want. And I'm not going to Walmart. I'm not going to taking some second job. I'm not going for a third career. Okay, I'm talking to that person, or I'm talking to that young person, 20 years old, who watched their parents give 30 to 40 years of their life to some corporation to not have anything or to have very little. I can't see. Here's the trick, folks. Most people, they do have something. They just don't have freedom. Okay, they might have a nice house, might have a nice home, might have 2 Mercedes in the driveway. Okay, but they still know that if they don't get up on Monday morning and go hump, all that stuff gets pulled away. All that stuff is gone. Okay, so don't let anybody impress you. And I don't care if they're a doctor, lawyer, whoever they are. And it's not to demean those things. It's to put those things in true perspective, to take the blinders off. If we learn anything in the last 6 months at COVID, is that the emperor has no clothes. What I mean by that, America is the emperor and America's broke. And I'm not talking about on an individual level. I'm talking about all these major corporations in 30 to 60 days was crying to the government for money. Robert Kiyosaki says something. So he said, you'll find capitalists, so-called capitalists in America, always talking about socialism. You got Republicans always screaming anti-socialist activity, the government giving money to the poor. But see, reality is America is about socialism for capitalists, socialism for the big business person. And then they'll tell you, the broke person who working 46 hours a week, to pull yourself up by your bootstrap. But General Motors ain't got no problem going and say, we need $100 million. Ford ain't got no problem saying we need some money. All these major corporate, and the worst of all is the banking institution. They don't have a problem walking to the government and saying, we need $1 trillion bailout. And then they'll make you feel bad because you got some financial situations going on. Get out of here, man. Don't buy into that nonsense. Anyway, I'm off track. I apologize. So I'm saying to you this. We've been sold a bill of goods and we've been conditioned to be average and not realizing that average won't cut it. You've got to find a way to be independent. And watch this, folks. So here my wife and I, we've done everything society told us to do. At 20 years old, I was introduced to this network marketing profession that taught me about a thing called freedom. And I lost my mind. See, I bought it. Somebody said, you drank the Kool-Aid? Absolutely. I drank the Kool-Aid. When they said freedom was possible, and I'm looking at that guy on stage, and he didn't have 2 heads, I said, if he's done it, I can do it. He said it was a 2 to 5 year plan. Well, it took my wife 4 years to get free, but it took me 12 years of part-time. That's why I tell you, people call me and say, Tom, I think I'm going to have to go get a job. I said, go get one. I'm not anti-jobs. A job will finance your freedom. If you got a job, thank God for that job. But don't plan to be there for the rest of your life. That's the challenge. That's the problem. Or don't plan to be there till they fire you. And they will fire you. The minute they can find somebody else to do your job for less, and I don't care if they're in India or China or wherever, you are gone. They find a machine that'll do your job, you are gone. So you got to take full responsibility for your finances. And so at 20 years old, when grown men start talking to me about being a grown man and taking full responsibility for my life, I said, oh my God, I never heard this kind of conversation before, but I rose to the challenge. I knew it was going to take me 12 years to get free, but I accepted the challenge. I said, I want to be free. If that guy can do it, I can do it. And I'm here to tell you, if I can do it, you can do it. Don't let somebody make you think that Mr. Dalco is something special, Mr. Best is something special, Tanisha Glass. We have some talents. The number one thing we have is an attitude and a desire. That's the number one qualification. And the ability to focus and not let anybody take you off focus from what your dreams and your goals are. So now I'm going to talk about the 2 options. Because when I saw networking in 1983, I was told there's only 2 options. They say either you're going to take the traditional job route or the traditional business route, or you're going to take the networking route. I'm like, okay. Now, wait a minute. That's if you're not already some established entertainer and have access. That's a whole nother story. But see, that's another trick of the system. Less than 1% of the people in America make their money through entertainment, folks. And by entertainment, I mean all professional athletes. I mean singers, rappers, dancers. But see, it's all put in front of us. So all of us think that if we don't make money that way, we can't make money. The wealth in America is in business. Okay? You impressed with the guy that writes the athletes. You impressed with the athlete because he signed a check for $100 million. I want you to be impressed with the guy that wrote the athlete the check. See, the guy that wrote Shaq his first check was an Amway distributor. Founded Amway Corporation. Anyway, that's something I'm way off track. Lord, that's something be done in 15 minutes. But see, you got to know. See, when you don't know all this kind of stuff, America be throwing shade at all these things that are going. Watch this. Keep this thing simple. Two choices. There's a 35 to 40 year plan. There's a 40 to 50 year plan. Now, you're going to work till you're 65 or 70 years old. There's a 40 to 50 year plan. So take a job, get education, get out of high school at 18 or get out of college at 22 or get your master's degree, doctorate degree. So you got about 22 to 24 years of education there. And then you take a job and you save your time for money till you're 65 or 70 years old. That's option number one. And probably 99% of the population is taking that option or on that option, and they feel like that is the only option. That's option number one. I'm here to tell you, no, there's an option number two. Okay? The option number two is the networking profession. I'm talking about Karatbars in particular because Karatbars pretty much has ruined me for network marketing. Okay? Because our product is gold and money. I'm going to get that in a minute. Why do I say this option number two? Because that other option would never create time and money. You may make a whole lot of money in tradition number one, get an education, become a doctor, lawyer, professor, anything, but you're still selling your time for money. And then even after you become the top of your profession, you could be the best surgeon in the world, neurosurgeon in the world, best thoracic surgeon in the world. You can't sell, you can't will that expertise to your family. You can't will it to your spouse. You can't will it to your kid. You could be the best psychiatrist in the world, but you can't will that skill set, that pedigree, that license to your family. Nothing against that. I'm just saying you can't. Now let's go look at option number two. You signed up in Karatbars International. It was free. So number one, you didn't end up $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in debt in option number one, the educational system. You signed up for free. You started a business to operate from day one in 149 countries. Our product is gold, shipped in 149 countries all around the world. And gold is recognized as money all around the world. Now watch this. Everyone else is selling 40 to 6 hours a week to get gold or to get money. Our product is money, and all you have to do is register for free and exchange those dollar bills for gold, which is an appreciating asset. Option number two, watch this. And in 12 weeks, 90 days, option number two, 90 days, option number two could put you at $10,000 a month residual income for the rest of your life. Option number two, Karatbars International, could build a residual income that'll pay your family for the rest of your life after you're no longer here. Option number two allows you to accumulate gold, which is an asset you can leave to your spouse or leave to your kids. Option number two, you can start right now tonight. Okay? Right now tonight. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to go to the Small Business Administration. You don't have to ask Congress for money. You don't have to go get a license. You don't have to go get an attorney. You don't have to go get a tax professor. You don't have to do any of those things. All you have to do is say, okay, you know what? That makes sense to me. Sign me up. I'm ready to go. That's option number two. Wait a minute. And your business is not restricted by COVID issues. We do business 25 days, 7 days a week, all over the world, over the telephone, over the laptop, over electronic device. You have no employees, you have no overhead, you have no place to go, and you can make as much as $100,000 a year, $100,000 a month, or $1 million a year. You decide. There's no comparison. Option number two is the road less traveled, but it's obvious the best choice. If you believe. And I don't know why you will not believe. We just didn't get started last week and said what we're going to do. There's already 1 million people and millions of dollars of commission have been paid out. So let me finish this thing right now because I'm already past my 15 minutes. This is how simple this program is. This is how simple for you to become a multi-millionaire or at the very least a free person. This is how simple it is for those guests who listen. Number one is 3 things you got to do. Number one, you've already register and get you a package number 4. That's number one. Number 2, find 2 people on a planet of 7 billion who get a package number 4. That you sponsor 2 people who get a package number 4. Watch this, and you teach them how to duplicate steps 1 and 2. 3 simple things. 1, you get a package. 2, you sponsor 2, you get a package. 3, you teach those people how to do steps 1 and 2. Over and over and over again. This is what people miss. It's so simple. Now watch this. If you spend the next 4 years in college, you end up in college, you spend 4 years. I'm not anti that. Go to college if you want to. But here's what happened at the end of 4 years in college. Okay? You have potential to get a better job. You got a degree. And you also are an indentured servant. Now, they won't say that to you, but if you're $200,000 in debt already coming out, you're going to work the next 10, 20 years paying off the debt. Now, let's see. Option 1, you register for free. You took your mental power, your sweat equity, and wait a minute, you align yourself with a group of business people where our whole motivation is to help you succeed in this business. We succeed by helping you succeed. Get that. And at the end of 90 days, you could be at $10,000 a month in income. In the end of 90 days, you could have made 25 grand. No debt, you made 25 grand. At the end of 90 days, you had $10,000 a month in residual income minimum. That's what could happen. But let's just say that things didn't work out that way, and it took you a whole 12 months to get the $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 a year. You're in the top 2-3% income bracket in America, and you're not in debt. And you have no employees and no overhead, and you're over $100,000 a year. But let's say that's too optimistic too. Let's say it took you 2 years to do it. You're still at $100,000 a year, residual income, no employees, no overhead, and you built something that's a little part of your estate. You said, well, that's still too optimistic. Well, let's say if it took you 3 years to do it, you're still at $100,000 a year, and it keeps going. But let's say it took you 4 years to do it. At the end of 4 years, instead of getting a piece of paper that said congratulations and everybody singing pomp and circumstance to you, I'm not quitting. I got the degree. I'm proud. My degree got me the job at Ford Motor Company. My degree got me the job at Toyota Motor Sales. I'm not anti that. I'm just saying there are 2 roads to take. At the end of 4 years, if you mess this up and you find yourself at $100,000 a year in income, was it worth the time and effort and energy? Absolutely. It took me 12 years of part-time effort. See, I'm the wrong guy to call and say, I got a job. I did with a job for 12 years of part-time effort. When I found the right opportunity, I was free in 21 months. And I've never looked back. I've been free for 25 years. Was it worth the 12 years? And that was back in the 80s and 90s when you drove everywhere you wanted to show somebody this. When you drove 5 and 6 nights a week to somebody's house. I'm going to say it one more time. There's 2 roads. The educational route, which is going to lead to a good job, or a traditional business, the doctor, the lawyer, the accountant. Or you can take option number 2, Karatbars International, register for free, give yourself time to succeed. Can you do it fast? Yes. Mr. Michael Delco quit his job in 103 days. We got people quitting their job in 60 days, 90 days, paying off mortgage. But that time frame, that's all in your head. You determine the time frame. But I'm here to tell you this, that if it took you 12 months, or if it took you 2 years or 3 years, you'll look back and you'll think you cheated life. Because now you'll find yourself free. You got no place to go. You got all the money you need. You got no overhead, no employees. You work in your pajamas all day. You work from home. People ask me all the time, Tyrone, how's COVID treating you? I said, COVID is not doing anything to me. I quarantined myself 25 years ago at 40 years old. Why? Because I wanted to be free. I got freedom. I love staying home. When I first been free for the first 2 years, Val sometime would remind me, she said, you ain't been outside in 2 weeks. I said, really? I love sitting home talking to people all over the world on the phone. So, folks, that's how simple it is. 2 options. Option number 1, the traditional route, which 99% of the people have been conditioned to do. You must uncondition yourself to take option number 2, and option 2 is so simple. Get package number 4, find 2 people, get package number 4, and in 90 days you can find yourself over $10,000 a month in income. That's all I wanted to share with folks. Hope you can share this with other folks on your team. Dream big, and don't let anyone steal your dream. And to quote Tanisha Glassford, I'd rather make $50,000 a year and be free than $100,000 a year on somebody's job. And to quote the queen of queen again, Tanisha Glassford, one more time, plug in or clock in. God bless. Dream big. See you later. Thank you for your time. Good night.